The Brian Mudd Show is on News Radio 610 WiOD.
All right, so our summer spiking cases, we talked about this, and where we sit in Florida. And the news for us is less than ideal in a couple of respects. And at first, we're seeing an increase like everywhere. However, the increase is not proportional. So if you take a look, we got about 6.7% of the country's population. And, most recently, we have had 20% of the new COVID cases in the U.S. And heading into the summer, we were the number one destination. People that wanted to travel. And it looks like a lot of people might have brought us stuff that, would have been better left behind. So we're going to talk about this. Patty Olinger from the Global Biorisk Advisory Council has been a wealth of pragmatism and information during the course of the pandemic. Patty, I'm curious to get your thoughts about where we sit with the recent surge in cases.
It's been difficult this last few weeks. I mean, people want to get out. And like you said, number one destinations, they're seeing people come in sometimes droves because people have been sequestered for so long. I think that what we've been seeing is we went from a lot of the areas being completely shut down. We started getting our vaccination rates up, but we still aren't, in some pockets, we still have, low vaccination rates or lower vaccination rates, we may say. And, if you've been out in public, and I've been, into a couple different places, with the CDC guidelines of saying, if you are not vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask, you would be under the impression that everybody is vaccinated, and we know that's not true. And so we're starting to see some of the, variant cases come forward. We're starting to see, in fact, most of the hospitalizations are people who are unvaccinated. And, it's concerning. And I think that we'll continue to see these numbers go up before it gets better.
Patty, I got all kinds of ideas about various things, but, you take a look at some of the anecdotal evidence out there about fully vaccinated people. I mean, out of the blue, you have 5 New York Yankees that test positive for COVID-19 that are vaccinated. Yep. At a different location, there are 5 coworkers fully vaccinated, just tested positive for COVID-19. I now know 2 people that had COVID-19, back in the early going, got vaccinated, and have COVID-19 again.
Yeah, I think what we've seen, and this is not, just for the COVID-19 or the COVID vaccine, is that what the vaccination does do, and we know this, is that if you end up getting the virus, even after vaccination, the likelihood that you're going to have a severe case is very, very reduced. And that we see that in other vaccines as well. And so it is a protection for you to not have a severe case of COVID-19. And so that's one of the things that people have to understand, that it doesn't mean that you cannot get infected. There are, like we've seen in the press, there are cases where people can still have what they call breakthrough infections.
Well, and here's the thing, right? So the breakthrough infections, I want to get your read on my concerns about the truth in the process. So during a normal flu season, all you ever hear from the healthcare experts, and I've railed on this for years, it annoys the crap out of me because I believe in putting the facts out there and having people make informed decisions based on facts. And I think during times of adversity, the fact that they haven't done that in the medical establishment right along is biting them in the butt in real time. So historically, the efficacy of the flu vaccine has averaged 43%. The best ever was 60. The worst ever on record was 10%. So most years they missed the mark in terms of helping you avoid contracting the virus. They might say that it could help mitigate the effects if you do get it. That may well be true. But nevertheless, 43% efficacy in a normal year. So you fast forward to where we are, and at this point where, during a normal flu season, they don't tell you that. Just go get a flu vaccine because you have to go get a flu vaccine. And so here we are in where they have every interest to try to get everybody vaccinated, especially people who have been hesitant. they're not going to be forthright with us. I mean, why would we expect them to be transparent if these vaccines are not anywhere near as effective against the variants as they have been saying, or if the vaccines, the efficacy wears off faster than perhaps they had been anticipating?
I think one of the things that we have to still remember is that this is, I mean, even though we are a year and a half into it, we still have individuals who have never been exposed. I mean, most of the people still have never been exposed to the virus. So if you're unvaccinated, you have no, roadmap. You have no history with COVID-19 or with COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2. As opposed to the flu, I mean, you're right. There's so many. The flu vaccine is one of those things where, I hate to say guess, but they kind of guess every year about what we may see, and sometimes they do better, and sometimes they miss the mark. But we have a history with the flu for many, many, many years, and so the vaccine helps us with a added protection, especially when they hit the mark. With this particular virus right now, we still are learning, and that's frustrating for all of us because it's like, well, we should know by now. And it's like, well, we still are learning. We don't know how long our antibodies to the virus is going to stay around after we're vaccinated, or even after we've had if we've had the virus, how long that's going to be.
Yeah, Patty, we're going to have to leave it there, but I appreciate it. It's always good talking with you and getting your perspective. Patty Olinger from the Global Biorisk Advisory Council.